Hi, good people. It's Alicia D. Listen, I've made it past my pain. Now I'm ready to share some love, peace, and happiness. Welcome to the Happiness Trek. Hi, good people. It's Alicia D. I'm sitting in my car. I'm trying to do this review about Harriet Tubman. I've been trying and trying. This is like my fourth or fifth time recording. I've been coughing, hacking, sneezing. My eyes are running. So forgive me. But let's jump right in. We went to see the movie Harriet. This is my review. Why did I like the movie so much? Listen. I liked the movie so much because it was about Harriet Tubman. Point blank. You know, I liked the movie because it was a movie about Harriet Tubman. And the fact that she was brave and courageous. And not only that, she trusted herself. Listen, it takes a lot of bravery to do what she did. And to do what she did alone. And to be the leader. And to not let anybody talk her out of what she felt like was hers. And that was her freedom. Not her husband. Not nobody was going to talk her out of this. She was determined to be free. And that in and of itself is just profound. Because her basic right as a human being was taken from her. And she was like, no, y'all giving this back to me. I'm going to be free. So she did what she had to do. And as women today, as a advocate for women and girls, to trust yourself is huge. And so many women today have problems picking out, frivolous things. They have problems trusting themselves with the most simplest decisions, right? And here you have this young lady who is going to trust herself and trust what God put in her to not only want to be free, but do what it takes to be free. And that is, travel 90 to 100 miles to freedom. Now, in the movie, it doesn't talk about the fact that her brother started out with her. But yeah, her brother started out with her. They turned back, I think like when they got to Maryland or something, she kept going to Pennsylvania. She got to Pennsylvania, realized, you know what, I'm free, but my family is still in bondage. And that is just what a woman does. A woman will always be looking out for her family. But listen, the key is, here's the key, ladies, save yourself first. Now listen, Harriet left everybody. She left her husband. She left her mama, her daddy, her sisters, and her brothers. She saved herself. And if y'all don't get nothing out of this message, nothing out of this review, women, you better save yourself. You better practice the skill of trusting yourself. You better find the courage. You better find the bravery. You better walk through the fear. And you better get what's yours. Now, that is why you should go see the movie, Harriet, the movie. Okay? Because us women, we got to stop shrinking. And Harriet wasn't having it. She wasn't going to let anybody tell her. Nobody was going to tell her what she could have or could not have. She set the trajectory for her life. She's like, I'm going to be free. Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm going to be free. And I think that is just a beautiful thing. She freed herself, then she came back for her family. And what we do as women sometimes, we try to free everybody else and help everybody else and neglect our own selves. And that's where we get it twisted. So if you don't take away anything else from this movie, you take away the fact that she believed in herself and she trusted herself and she saved herself first. Save yourself first, women, and then you will be a better mom. You will be a better wife. You will be a better friend. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it in reverse. Okay? Now, let's talk about some of the iffy things about the movie. Let's talk about the historical perspective of the movie, right? So I had been hearing that the movie wasn't all the way true. They took creative licenses. They kind of made up scenes. And yes, they did. Okay. So the fact that they made up scenes, fine. I don't have a problem with that because it's a teachable moment. Go back, do your research, which you should do anyway. Figure out what was right in the movie, accurate. And for the things that were wrong, read about those things too. And have a real complete picture of who this woman was, Harriet Tubman. There's not going to be one movie that can put all this together. You can't put her whole life together in one movie. Okay? You just can't. The fact that they, made up a few scenes, that doesn't really bother me that much. Okay? The fact that they wanted to make this movie a movie that families could go see, kids could go see, doesn't bother me that much because I feel like this is the first of many movies that will be made about Harriet Tubman. Okay? And this is just the first movie. That doesn't mean it's the only movie, okay? And so we could have another movie that could come back through and make a better version of it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having a starting place for this movie, okay? I'm okay with that. I'm not going to beat these people up for that. Okay? Let's see. The church played an instrumental part in the Underground Railroad. And it was interesting to see that the people, when they mentioned the preacher, they did not think the preacher was going to help them. In actuality, the preacher was in on the Underground Railroad, and churches were a part of this complex system. And that was nice to see how the people helped them. It was also nice to see that Caucasian people had a place and had a role in the Underground Railroad and in making it happen. Okay. Now, I don't want to, on some of these reviews, people are kind of upset because, why are they upset? Because one, they didn't show the brutality of slavery. And number two, they showed the white man as, I don't know, somewhat of a savior. Okay. Now there's some spoilers in here and I've already probably given some already, but when the owner, what is his name? Gideon, he, hires a black bounty, guy to track down Harriet. And when this black bounty hunter is about to kill Harriet, this guy, the slave owner, Master Gideon, shoots the guy and prevents him from killing Harriet. Okay. And so some people had an issue with that. Like, why is this white guy being the savior? So, I guess there's some credibility to that point. I also think it's worth mentioning that there was violence towards the black male to a black woman. When Janae Monet, her character is Marie. She is actually beaten and killed by one of the black bounty hunters. And I thought, that was a little, it's like two people died. The bounty hunter died and Janelle Monáe died. Like, black people died when there was opportunity for white people to die. I mean, it's just one of those kind of things that, that could have been, I don't know. It could have been, it's not really that cool. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. I did mention that there was, they didn't really show the brutality because they were trying to make it a family-friendly movie. And now here's the other thing. They don't really show Harriet struggling with her journey. She jumps into the river because she refuses to be captured. And then she just awakens, and then a couple more scenes and she's free. She's reached Pennsylvania. And I think they could have taken a little bit more time with that and just really showed how difficult it was for her to make that journey. The journey they didn't put a lot of emphasis on the hardship of the journey. You just saw her going from one point to the next and people helping her, right? You didn't see her humanity. You didn't see when she was scared. You didn't see when she was nervous. You didn't see her, basically, you just didn't really see a whole lot in her journey. Okay? And maybe she wasn't scared. Because I think what they had said when I read up about this, that back then, as a slave, you could be rented out to different people, different masters. And I think Harriet was rented out. And so she went to these other plantations, which made her more familiar with the area and with the geography of the area she was in. And so maybe being out in the fields and being, rented out to different plantations, she was just really comfortable outdoors. Okay. Maybe that's why, they didn't really go into showing her journey being difficult. Just a thought. Let's see. Yeah, on one of the websites that I went to, they said just that she was successful in working in the fields and woods and observing the stars in the natural environment and learning about the secret communication networks of free and enslaved African Americans. So being out there, she was real comfortable in that environment. Okay, that makes sense. Listen. When you are courageous and you follow your heart and you trust yourself and you do something that is extraordinary, you change your name. So after she made that journey, she changed her name because you know what? She was different. She was a different person. She had gone through some stuff. And I think it was noteworthy, the scenes of her changing her name and him asking her, do you want to change your name? And she was like, yeah, let's change it. I thought that was really good. There was some controversy about the Cynthia, the actress who played Harriet, and the fact that she wasn't from the United States. And that she, had said some derogatory things about African Americans and how people did not want, just because she was black, didn't mean she should play the role. And there's kind of two sides to this whole take on her playing Harriet. The one side that says you shouldn't flatten the black culture, the black experience. Like we're not all one people. We have subsets of black people. And we're not, what's the word? We're just not one black race. There are a lot of subsets. And because of that, they should have chose somebody who was born and raised in America to play the part of Harriet. So that was something that people talked about, and that was a real issue. And the fact that they had found tweets from Cynthia where she had, said some rough things about Black people. So, I mean, I get that. I get it. It makes sense. I tell you what, I'd rather have her playing it than, at one point they were thinking about, I don't know, 25 years ago, about having Julia Roberts play it. Now that would have been a mess. And I'd have definitely had something to say about that. But, I don't know. You have to look that up yourself and see how you feel about her playing that role. And if you think she deserved it. It was also good to see Harriet as a young woman. Wasn't that nice to see her as a young woman? Normally we see this picture of her as an elderly woman, but it was nice to see her young and vibrant and strong. And it was a terrible thing that the capacity that her husband could love her was as a slave. His capacity to love her stopped at slavery. He did not have the fortitude, the vision to go on with her and to help her be free. And now that's a sad commentary right there. That's sad for the man not to be able to see her vision and want her free when he was free. He was free. She wanted to be free, and he wouldn't go with her. Okay, now that right there, that is not cool at all. She had to, leave him behind, and so she did. Did I mention that the church had a great part in this? I don't know if I mentioned this because I did this video like 5 times already. Let's see. Harriet was more than just a conductor in the Underground Railroad. She was a leader. She was in the army. And she led, she was a spy too. Listen, don't play with Harriet. And Harriet owned property. When she was like, I think it said 74, she bought like 25 acres of land, and she took in people who didn't have anywhere to stay. Look, Harriet, she didn't stop at the Underground Railroad. Like, this was her life's mission and call to help others, to free others, to make a way for others. And it was just beautiful. Like, you walk away feeling empowered as a woman, empowered as a race. My question would be like, out of my white friends, like, who would my white friends have helped in the Underground Railroad? Like, those are the kind of questions that I'm asking. Like, do I have people around me? Because obviously it took not only the Black people, but it took white people on the other side to help make this thing happen. And also, listen here, the other thing is we cannot downplay the component of mixed races, because if you were mixed, you could use that in your benefit to help other slaves, to free other slaves, if your skin was, really light. So, the fact that, it's terrible that, listen, it's terrible that, women were raped. And like, I'm not condoning that at all. I'm not. I am so not. Listen, let me just pause for a minute. But what I am saying is that because they were mixed, people who were mixed with white and Black, those people could help the effort even more, because they could play the role of a white person like the girl did in the movie. Okay, so there's a lot of ups and downs and kinds of things, and it's just however you want to look at this. You can look at it as them watering down the movie and making it not accurate, or you can take the good and just leave the bad. Take the good and then go research Harriet on your own. Because listen, information is out there. And I'm really hoping this is the first of many movies about Harriet Tubman. And so I'm okay with it. I am really, it just makes me proud to be who I am, right? And you had people like Harriet Tubman that came before us. So my biggest takeaway again, is that Harriet Tubman was authentic, and it showed her trusting herself, being courageous, being brave. And that's the biggest thing that, that I want to leave you guys with. The ability to trust yourself. And so I'll ask you a couple of questions. When is the last time you trusted yourself? When did you have something deep down inside of you? My light went out. When did you have something deep down inside of you and you knew you were supposed to do it, but you could not find the courage to step out? You could not find the courage to leave. You could not find the courage to take the step. I want to encourage you, and I want to say, listen, take a moment and dig way deep down and do what you know to do. If it's leave. Whatever it is that is way deep down, I need you to take a moment and try to feel what that is, figure out what that is. And I need you to trust what's in you, trust yourself, trust that you're going to make a right decision, and do it. That's the biggest takeaway from this movie. When you come out of that movie, you should be asking yourself, how am I going to trust myself? What steps am I going to take to be free? Free in your mind, your spirit, and to be at peace and at rest. Okay? That is what the happiness trek is about. It is about freeing ourselves, trusting ourselves that we will make the right decision. Trusting what God put in us, that we could hear his voice and that we will make the right decision. So in the comments below, listen, if there's something he put in your heart, tell me about it. List it down there for me. Okay? Remember, whatever you think you need, you already have. Peace out.